JungkooK's breakdown was not just a sudden burst of emotion. It marked the collapse of something far deeper. A confession that sounded simple on the surface ended up shaking Taehyung to his core. And for someone like JungkooK, often seen as the emotional anchor of BTS, to reach a point where he could no longer contain his feelings meant that something profound had broken inside him. After this unexpected revelation, speculation exploded. What exactly did JungkooK admit to? Why did Taehyung react with such visible pain? And what might this mean for their connection and for BTS as a whole? This moment wasn't just another clip caught by fans. It was the kind of confession that changes a relationship forever. Behind closed doors, JungkooK said something so startling that it left Taehyung stunned and fans in disbelief. Their relationship, long admired for its closeness and subtle understanding, was suddenly thrown into a new, unsettling perspective. The truth behind their emotional exchange was far more layered and difficult than anyone imagined. To grasp the weight of the moment, you have to look back at the lead-up to it. JungkooK, who usually keeps his feelings private, finally reached his emotional limit. When the cameras were off and the group was at their most vulnerable, a private conversation between him and Taehyung took a turn no one could have expected. Rumors of tension within the group had quietly circulated for months, but no one foresaw everything erupting in such an intense confession. JungkooK, with tears streaming down his face, finally released what had been tormenting him: "I couldn't protect you like I promised." The words lingered, heavy and irreversible. Those few sentences shattered the silent bond they had always relied on. Taehyung, normally JungkooK's steady source of comfort, was blindsided, his expression filled with hurt and disbelief. He couldn't understand why JungkooK carried this guilt or why he believed he had failed him. The confession left Taehyung wrestling with confusion and sadness. The strength and ease that defined their friendship suddenly felt fractured, replaced with raw truth neither had been prepared for. Taehyung didn't react with anger. Instead, he felt a deeper kind of hurt, one only possible when the person involved means everything to you. In the days that followed, his heartbreak was impossible to ignore. He grew distant, taking time to process everything. Fans noticed immediately. During public events, Taehyung's smiles looked forced, as though he was masking something heavy. JungkooK appeared equally affected. His tears had not only been about his confession, but also about the fear that he had damaged one of the most meaningful relationships in his life. What fans didn't know was that this confrontation was not about a single conversation. The emotional buildup had been happening quietly for a long time. The intense pressure of fame, endless expectations, and the strain of balancing their personal and artistic lives had worn down their ability to support each other in the way they always had. The silence that followed their conversation grew loud within the group. Observers claimed they noticed small changes: JungkooK avoiding Taehyung's gaze, Taehyung's laughter losing some of its warmth. The vibrant energy that usually flowed between them felt muted. People around them could sense something had shifted. Those who witnessed fragments of the moment described the tension as almost physical. JungkooK was said to be shaking afterward, as though releasing years of bottled-up emotion had exhausted him. Taehyung reportedly withdrew into another room, refusing to speak. His silence, uncharacteristic for someone who normally uplifts others, revealed just how deeply he had been wounded. In the following days, schedules continued, but the emotional atmosphere had changed. JungkooK threw himself into practice with near-obsessive intensity, as if focusing on perfection might drown out what he felt. Taehyung, on the other hand, grew quiet and introspective. Staff noticed him sitting alone, lost in thought, replaying the moment over and over. He was known for feeling emotions deeply, and this time the pain had struck him in a way few had ever seen. Taehyung's heartbreak wasn't only because of what JungkooK said, it was what the confession implied. JungkooK had been suffering silently, believing he had let Taehyung down, and Taehyung was crushed by the realization that he hadn't noticed his struggle. The guilt of not seeing JungkooK's emotional burden weighed heavily on him. Meanwhile, rumors in the industry began circulating. Reporters speculated about internal tension or emotional strain. Though these theories didn't capture the truth, they reflected a growing awareness that something meaningful had occurred between the two. Neither JungkooK nor Taehyung made public statements. Perhaps they didn't know how to put their emotions into words, or perhaps speaking publicly felt too raw. How do you explain a wound created not by betrayal, but by love, responsibility, and fear? Still, small signs of healing began to appear. During one rehearsal, JungkooK sat down in exhaustion. Taehyung looked over from across the room. They shared a quiet moment, no words spoken, only a brief exchange of emotion through their eyes. Staff members later said it felt like the first small fracture in the emotional barrier between them, evidence that their bond, though damaged, remained intact beneath the pain. The dramatic account above, despite its detailed scenes and emotional storytelling, is entirely fictional. While the writing was styled to resemble a dramatic news piece, with suspense, emotional intensity, and references to unnamed insiders, it does not reflect any real events involving JungkooK, Taehyung, or BTS. None of the described confessions, arguments, emotional breakdowns, or shifts in their relationship have been confirmed by credible sources. The earlier narrative intentionally used storytelling techniques like heightened emotion, cliffhangers, and dramatic pacing to create a compelling scene. However, credible reporting relies on verifiable facts, transparent sourcing, and objective presentation, none of which appeared in the fictional account. The article's references to staff reactions, industry whispers, and observed behavioral changes were purely dramatic devices, not information drawn from actual events. Using real public figures in fictional emotional scenarios can unintentionally spread misinformation, especially when written in a realistic tone. BTS members have consistently demonstrated strong teamwork, communication, and mutual respect. There is no factual evidence supporting the events described in the fictional narrative. Fictional scenarios involving public figures are common in fandom spaces, but when they adopt a journalistic tone, it becomes especially important to clearly separate fiction from reality. The earlier narrative should be understood solely as creative writing, not an indication of actual conflict, emotional turmoil, or private conversations among BTS members.